Willie D Live.
It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. Streaming live, my man, the smart guy. What's up, King?
Oh man, what's up, brother?
Hey, man, I can't call it. I might stall it. Look, man, you ain't stalling. I know for one thing, man, you killing it out there, man, and you doing your thing. And it's amazing seeing somebody like yourself who has such strong convictions stand 10 toes down on business,
Right,
go backing up, straightforward, and unapologetic.
right.
You get a whole lot of love, but you also get your fair share of detractors.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, I no, I think, I think there's an imbalance though, right? I definitely think that I receive more love than 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 hate, and I think more people are supportive of my viewpoints and my messaging points. It's just that I'm so unapologetically politically incorrect that it makes it hard for some individuals to publicly show their in agreement with what I'm saying. But internally, there's a there's an agreement with what I'm saying, because when I meet people in other places and off camera, off the record, man, they give me their flowers in private. They give me my flowers in private, so to say.
Right,
Hmm.
right. You from Harlem, man. How was it like growing up in Harlem?
Man, I don't know. I don't think it necessary for me. It wasn't necessarily the borough. It was like it was a lot, right? Like bouncing from group home to group home, to foster home, shelters, drug programs. It just was a lot of uneasiness, anxiety, and unstableness. And I just remember my earliest memories were about survival, right? Trying to find ways to survive. That was, like that was the biggest thing for me, right? Like, my mother was a drug addict. My father wasn't around, and my mom didn't care about making sure I was good. So I would say growing up for me was just man, it was tough. It was tough. It was tough. It was tough.
Who was there around you to give you any type of positive advice? Just somebody that you could look at. Was it somebody like maybe in the house, outside of the house, a family member, somebody in the neighborhood, somebody on TV? Who inspired you? Because you could have easily became a statistic, and at one point I know that you didn't care if you became a statistic or not. So how did you wrap your head around the idea that I'm a smart guy for real? I'm a smart guy. I'm not a dummy. If I'm a smart guy, then that means that I got to move in a way that the average cat don't move. I can't go out like a chump when I'm supposed to be the smart guy. I can't go out like a sucker. At some point, something had to click in you that made you say, you know what? I'm not going to be a statistic. I'm gonna prove everybody wrong.
Well, I would say it was God, right? I didn't have it for me. There were no there was no inspirations. I didn't have any inspirations. You know, um, I was molested by my mother. I didn't have my father around. I'm in group homes. I just remember always being angry. I'm in survival mode. I didn't love myself. I had abandonment issues. There were at 12 years old, I wanted to kill myself, right? So I didn't have any type of the first inspiration I got was from God, and that's when I was in prison. I was in Southport Box, right? So it wasn't about inspiration. It just was about survival. I was desensitized, so I didn't have a conscience. So I'm selling drugs. I'm committing all types of crimes, robberies, kidnappings. I'm really heavy in the street growing up, and there was no. It was just complete darkness, and I felt empty. I didn't want to live, so I didn't care if I was killed. I didn't care at the time. I didn't care what happened to me. I didn't value myself. So there was no inspiration. There was no um, goal lining. It was just madness. A lot of pain, a lot of confusion. I was getting high every single day, smoking, drinking. Smoking cigarettes. I used to smoke 5 packs of cigarettes a day. I used to drink fucking like I don't know how many Coronas. I would probably drink like 9 Coronas a day because I found out that the cigarette, if you smoke the cigarette and you drink the Corona, it kind of boosts the cigarette a little bit, right? And so I was mad. Then I drink the Henny. I was out of my fucking mind, right? So yeah, I didn't have any inspiration. I didn't turn it around. God turned it around for me. The devil beat me.
But
The
but how,
devil.
but God has always been present in your life. So at what point did you visualize him? What point did you recognize that he was present in your life,
In
and
prison.
that he actually wanted to help you become a better person?
In prison. See,
What specific incident though?
yeah. So a lot of times when people say, this is why I think what makes me unique is I just keep it real. A lot of people, they like to say what they think should be the answer because they lying, right? They full of shit. I didn't have no. I went to prison. I'm in Southport box. I'm doing,
You
you
talking
know,
about
my, huh?
Paul Kelly? I mean, not I'm sorry, I mean Eric Kelly. He was boxing.
No, I'm in Southport box.
Oh, Southport Port
I'm in
box. Okay,
Southport box.
okay, gotcha.
It's the solitary confinement, 24-hour lockdown. I was in Southport box. Okay?
Gotcha.
And I was doing time in Southport box for cutting. The person that had stabbed me, I got stabbed up really bad. The person that stabbed me, I end up cutting that person, and I end up going back to the box. So
Okay.
the craziest thing in the world was, you know, even me thinking about it. I'm in Southport box, and I gave up. I'm doing a year in the box. You know what? Being in the box for a year, being in the hole for a year does to your mind. You start going crazy. You know,
Mhm.
my mom was playing tricks on me. No pun intended, right?
Yeah.
And I just gave up. I gave up. I gave in to the devil. At that point, I was willing to sell my soul. I ain't give a fuck.
Hmm.
I'm talking to the devil. Look, man, whatever you need me to do, that's it. I'm done because I felt like God. I felt like God abandoned me. I felt like God forsaken me. I just felt like it was too much shit. It was too much shit going on. And then when you in a box and you in 24-hour lockdown and you in Southport box, you don't have Southport box was like a concentration camp for the so-called Jews. And they closed down Southport box. I mean, every night brothers was getting killed. Police coming in your cell in the middle of the night, beating you, pepper spraying you, tasering you, stomping you out, breaking your bones. Or it was just madness. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, the fuck am I? Like, like, God, why am I fucking here? And I just was upset. And I felt like my life shouldn't have ended up the way it ended up. So I got stabbed. I got stabbed in the head. I could have died over a fucking box of chicken. I get stabbed in the head, right? And then from there, I got sent to the box. The people that stabbed me dropped the slip on me. I didn't want to tell who stabbed me, so I had to do 30 days in a box for unreported injuries. So now I'm doing 30 days in a box
Stop,
for.
stop, please, and hold that thought. You said you had to do 30 days in the hole for unreported injuries. So if you get injured and you don't tell them, you don't report the injury, they put you in the hole.
They put me in the hole for 30 days, unreported injuries. Yes.
Man, these people crazy, man. Wow.
Listen, check it. So now I go and I get stabbed. So I get stabbed, right? And then the person that stabbed me, they was banking on, because a lot of times when people get stabbed and they go in that sergeant office and the sergeants they pressure you, these dudes be telling. You know, we see it all the time, right? In the interrogation room, the police put the pressure on, the motherfuckers start pointing fingers. I ain't say nothing. They asked me what happened. I said I got hurt playing basketball. So they said, oh yeah, bullshit. 30 days. So now I'm in the hole. 30 days. I'm madder than the motherfucker, right? Now, once I got released from the box, guess what they did? They put me back in the same house that I got stabbed in, and the same people that was in that house that stabbed me was still there. They knew who stabbed me because the person who stabbed me told that they stabbed me. But indirectly, they dropped a slip to get me removed, hoping that I would tell who stabbed me. I mean, yeah. So it was like the person that stabbed me snitched on me, but nobody knew they snitched on me. But they was hoping that I would snitch on them, and then I get removed, and then I couldn't have an opportunity to retaliate.
Right.
So I get out of the box. I'm already upset. Once I see where I'm going, I'm like, oh, y'all putting me right back. I'm like, all right, bet. Soon as that same day, I cut the person who stabbed me. I cut him. I caught a new charge. Now I got to go back to the box for a year for cutting the guy who stabbed me, right? And now when you go to the box, the police, they beat you up really bad. They smack you, mace you. First they handcuff you, right? They handcuff you. They beat you up, throw you in a black van. Throw you in a black van with no seats in it. Throw you on the floor with your handcuffs. They kicking you, beating you in the van. Then they take you to the part of the jail where they have the box. Then they beat you some more. Boo, 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 boo. Right? So I'm going through all this shit. And then the sergeant, they take me in a room. Now they have to record you. They have to have you make a statement that you're healthy and you went to the box in shape. So basically, you can't you can't file for a lawsuit because a lot of people, they go to the box, they get broken ribs. The police beat the shit out you, right? So I'm in the sergeant's office and he looks at me dead in the eye. This big old Ku Klux Klan looking white motherfucker, right? And he's like, you know we kill niggas in here, right? You know that, right? And when I press record on this tape and I ask you, do you have any injuries? You better not say nothing. Mind you, my ribs is fucked up. I got a fractured wrist, ankle fucked up. They done stepped over, like they really beat the shit out of me, right? And he's like, you better not say anything happened to you. If you say anything happened to you, you won't eat. We'll starve you. We will kill you here. We kill niggas here. Is that understood? I go, yep, it's understood. He pressed record. He said, now, do you feel healthy? I said, nope. Y'all beat the shit out of me. You just said if I say anything, you won't eat. You kill me. You kill nigga. I went off, and he pressed stop on the recording and looked at me crazy. He said, "Oh, you still got some fight in you, right?" I said, "Hey, man, it is what it is." You know what I'm saying? And, you know what I mean? So and then they took my official statement, which thank God I did it because that kind of gave me some type of a protection because they had to turn that shit in, right? And then me being in the box, it was hard, man. It was horrible, right? Small ass room, metal bed with no mattress on it. The toilet bowl is by your head. The shower is by your feet, like literally, like your toilet bowl is damn near your pillow. And at the tip of your bed, it's a small shower, like a shower you gotta go in like this, right? We take showers once a week, and the water only comes on for 1 minute, and it's cold water, right? So this is Southport Box, and I just was that experience alone. It was enraging me. So every day I'm going through this, and I'm just like. Then we don't know when the shower's gonna come on, so we had to learn to listen to really listen to the water going through the pipes. So you know the shower, but you gotta hurry up. You only got a minute shower. So after 4 months of me missing showers, I finally had the timing of the water going through the pipes down pat to know when they was going to do the shower for that day. And it never was consistent. So I'm going through all this, right? Then I end up on a loaf. Because the officer that fractured my wrist, when they took me to the box, I was in handcuffs. They stepped on the handcuffs. I thought my hand was broke, right? I see him working a shift. I remember it. I splashed him. So when you splash somebody, you take a toothbrush, like a toothpaste bottle. You rip the bottom of it. You pee in it. You roll it up a little bit. You stick it under your door and you step on it. And when they come to your cell, the piss goes up and hits them in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I splashed them. You know, he pulled a pin. They come 12 deep, big metal shields, beat the shit out of me, batons, drag me. Now look, they dragged me out of Southport box and put me in another box under Southport box. Then they put me on the loaf. Yo, bro, the loaf is you get a piece of bread, 12 slices of bread, and one old musty head of cabbage, right? And that's all you eat for 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, they give you a new hard-ass piece of bread and a new piece of cabbage, and you got no bed, and they turn your toilet bowl off. So you in a cell with no shower, no bed, and it's just a toilet bowl, but the toilet bowl is turned off. So when you piss and shit, you smelling all that piss and shit, right? I don't know how the fuck they got away with doing this type of shit. So I'm on the loaf, I'm in the box, inside of the box, and now I'm having a conversation with God like, fuck you. Like, this shit is, man, fuck this shit. That's when I quit. That's when I gave up. And I said, if I make it out of this situation alive, the first person I come with contact with, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. And I laid on the floor, and it's crazy. I was going crazy, bro. I laid on the floor, butt-ass naked. So cell smell like piss and shit. And I'm just laying there. And I just gave up. And that's when I gave up. And that's when God, and I say this all the time, that's when I felt like God told the devil, you can't have this one. And God intervened. And then I started having like premonitions, and I started having visions of what my life was going to be like. And it was crazy because I actually cried. I didn't cry in a long time. I could count on one finger. I could count on a Ninja Turtle. I could count on a Ninja Turtle's hand how many times I cried and still have fingers left. Do you understand? You know the Ninja Turtle hand? You ever seen a Ninja Turtle?
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker got 3 fingers,
like
man.
2 fingers, right? Right.
I can count on a Ninja Turtle fucking hand how many times I cried and still have fingers left to spare. And God just made me cry. God just literally made me cry. And I'm laying on the floor like this, like how the fuck am I? It's like my eyes was like faucets, and God was making me cry. And it was like the scariest thing because I was like, I don't cry. Like, how am I crying? And it just scared the shit out of me. And I just let go. And all the pain, oh man, all the years, all the pent up, the things with my mom, my brothers, my everything just hit me all at once. You know, hit me all at once. And I broke down and I just asked God. I was just like, yo, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you want? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't make it. I'm not gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. And you know, they say God only puts, you know, a burden that you can carry on your shoulders. I'm looking up like, yo, these shits gonna crack right now. It's a wrap. I can't. You put a penny on top of this load. You put literally a penny on. I'm dying. It's over. And I just felt like God gave me the necessary revelations and visions that I needed to see. And I just felt like I had a new life. I felt like I felt like I was reborn. I felt like, you know, my life had purpose. And then I immediately started praying. I finished my time in the box, inside the box, then made it back to the regular box, finished that time. When I got back to population, I just started reading, studying. I began that process of cultivating a new self-image that I saw of myself in my subconscious mind, and I begin doing the necessary work to self-educate and develop myself.
When you said that when you was at your lowest point, you were saying that, man, when I get out of this situation, I'm gonna kill the first person I see. Did you have an image of what that first person you would see would look like? Was that person black? Was that person white? Or was that just a person?
Person, I had no pics.
Okay.
I had no pics. I just want to kill somebody. I ain't had no pics.
Um, who was worse, the COs or the inmates?
COs.
Okay. Because when I was locked up, the damn inmates were the worst, which was surprising to me. But that's feds. That's different from max. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times you're in the feds. Feds. A lot of cats, they'll try you because they think it's sweet. They think that you either got a Cadillac situation or you're getting ready to go. And you got your points are low, so they'll try you thinking that you ain't gonna take that chance. And I had to ding ding fries and shake a couple of them suckers, man, before I got up out of there, man, because I don't know what they was thinking, man, but you know,
Right. Hey,
yeah, I
yeah.
just
I mean, shit.
yeah, kind of
Killers be
blacked
killed.
out. Right, I kind of blacked out, man. What's your thoughts on this election, man? Well, are
Wait,
you?
so I want to cover something real quick, right? So when I started, before I go into election, right, I want to talk about like the self work I had to do. So this is when I started to shift my mindset, right? And this is when I started developing my mantra: how you think creates how you feel. How you feel becomes an emotion. That emotion becomes a vibration. That vibration becomes a magnet that attracts things to you, right? And then I started, creating my own philosophies and ideologies, right? And one of those things was, what worries you masters you, right? What worries you masters you. So whatever you worry about becomes your master, right? What you worry about, and to worry, you're gonna in order to worry, you have to subconsciously, repetitiously think about the same thing, the same fear, the same bully, the same obstruction, the same roadblock over and over and over and over again. So I had to be aware of, you know, what I worried about started to become my master. So I started to remove worry out of my life and then became more present. And these are the things that, started to help me develop a strong, a strong way of thinking, and help me with my mental fortitude, right? Next thing is being intentional and being purposeful, right? So it's almost like our deeds are the clothes in God's court when we die, and our actions are the lawyers for our soul in that same court, right? So I believe that while we're here, we have to do our best to be righteous. We have to do our best to add value, right? And the value that we add here will be the value added to us in the hereafter when we leave here. So this is why I say the actions are the lawyers for your soul in God's court when you die. So every deed is like testimony. And when we all leave here, we all want Johnny Cochran in God's court in the sky for representing us. Okay, he got OJ off, he gonna get us off. Okay. And then the next thing is, and this is all like the mindset I was cultivating in prison. Once I made that pivot, once I got that inspiration from God, once I got the inspiration from God, this was my pivots, right? Next thing is goals and deadlines. And we have to have goals and deadlines. Set a goal, then put all your energy in reaching that deadline. My first goal for myself was to educate myself, was to get a GED. I got my GED in prison. The furthest my education went was 8th grade, right? So now I'm studying philosophy, Socrates, Machiavelli, Sigmund Freud, John Locke, right? I'm tapping in, right? And I have this goal of increasing my intelligence. I had this goal of increasing my knowledge base. And then I set deadlines. I said, okay, I got 90 days to learn this information, master it, and then apply it to myself, and then learn only the lessons I could learn from the application of the knowledge, which turns into experiences, because experience is the best teacher. Now I created a school filled with teachers created by my experiences. that I had from applying the knowledge that I started reading. Even being in prison, being limited physically, but I had no limits mentally. So I started meditating. I started writing down affirmations. I started figuring out how to write plans for my future, how to create business plans. So that was important. And then understanding the sacrifices associated with reaching a deadline for the goals that you set. Had to have sacrifices. So even in prison, I stopped messing with the short eyes, which is the pussy magazines. I stopped, going to the yard unless I was working out. I gave up TV. I didn't look at any magazines. I started writing the SBA, which was the Small Business Association, and I found that they had development centers all over the states of America. And I would reach out and correspond with them. Then I got them to send me textbooks, old textbooks from colleges, and I started converting my prison sentence into a college attendance. And then now I'm using this time solely to develop myself. And I removed my focus from the loss of my freedom physically and the privilege I had in terms of exploring my mental freedom. Because I didn't have the worries that I didn't have the worries that I would have had if I was not physically free. So I had to figure out how to look at me being incarcerated as an advantage and leverage that advantage to explore my mind, right? And that's what I was able to do. So then I started to realize that, hey, equality is a contradiction to our existence as Black people. So now I'm studying, right? Like I'm studying the T. Broader files, Stolen Legacy. I'm studying Egyptology. I'm studying ancient Kemet. I'm realizing that, wait a minute, yo, our people has we have a rich history, and our contributions to the world literally created everything in the world. So now I'm not looking for equality. I'm looking for independence, right? I'm looking for independence because equality is a contradiction to our existence as gods and goddesses here on this planet Earth. I don't need equal rights. I don't I need independence. I need to focus on being independent and indulging in myself, and then building with my God-given capabilities, using the neuromelanin in my brain and applying 100% of my brain to my existence here in this realm. And then when I start doing that, I understand that I'm not looking for equality, because equality is a contradiction to I'm superior. We are a superior race. So we can never be equal to people who are recessive. We're the dominant. We're talking about genetics, right? We're the dominant. They're the recessives. So the problem is we're looking for equality when we will never be equal. We will always be superior. And that superiority gives us a responsibility to be independent. Okay? Very much important, right? Next point. Next point is the mind, and this is mindset, right? The mind never thinks without a picture, right? The mind never thinks without a picture. Now remember my mantra: how you think creates how you feel. How you feel becomes an emotion. That emotion becomes a vibration. That vibration becomes a magnet that attracts things to you. So when you have negative thoughts, I think it's in your best interest to start sketching out these thoughts, these images that you see when you're thinking negative. So you can identify things that may be externally triggering you to think this way. Every time we think, we do not think without a visualization, right? So the mind never thinks without a picture. We need to visualize every positive thought and sketch what you see, and essentially making our own personal art gallery of success in our subconscious mind. And then when you meditate, you're walking through your mind's art gallery, and there's nothing but positive images. Okay? And those positive images are created based upon the sketches you make when you're thinking positive. Okay? We do not think without a picture. When you think negative, there's a picture. When you think positive, there's a picture. So when you start to understand this, you need to develop your ability to sketch what you see when you think how you think. And when you're thinking positive, you need to make these sketches, you know, associated with what you're thinking. Okay. And my next point is, when when you feel afraid, force yourself. When you feel afraid, force yourself to laugh, and then take action through the chuckles. This is another thing that I learned. When you're afraid of something, just start laughing, right? Find something funny, right? And then as you're laughing, move forward out of your comfort zone in spite of fear. This is the mindset that I started to develop once I got the inspiration from God. And this is the mindset that I'm living in to this present moment, right? I got these are my last 2 points on mindset, and then I want to go into government and politics like you was on, right? The next thing is I started to look at things differently. I took a non-traditional I started to take non-traditional approaches. So I'm reading it's a book called Think and Grow Rich, right? Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And they were talking about if you can conceive it, you can achieve it. And they were talking about how to increase your productivity, blah, 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 blah. So somewhere in the book, it said make a to-do list. So what I thought to myself is, I'm going to make a not to-do list. Yeah. And what I did was I wrote down 10 things not to do every single day. And I made sure to not think negative. I made sure to not smoke, not drink, not have certain conversations, not associate myself with certain people, not eat certain foods. I made a not to-do list, and then I checked it off, and then I saw the results at the end of the week. And the funniest thing in the world, at the end of the week of me every single day sticking to my not to-do list, my levels of productivity increased. So, because the to-do list wasn't working for me. So I had to make a not to-do list. And then my not to-do list made my to-do list more easier to achieve and accomplish. Okay. And then
So
yeah.
it seemed like the not to do list was the intangible things, and the to do list was the tangible things, which sometimes we're not able to do anyway because we run out of time, or for whatever reason. Sometimes life happens, and it runs interference.
Right. Because the things on the not to do list, those were the things I was doing to as a form of escapism when I was trying to do something. This is what I found out. So when I was trying to go to the gym, I would get a feeling, and then now I'm going to eat something, play a video game. I would do something to get in the way of what I was supposed to do. So my not to do list revealed all of the vices that I indulged in terms of escapism. So I had to identify, what were the areas of escapism that I would depend on or resort to when I was trying to do something for myself. So the not to do list helped me in that way. So now what it did was it helped me break some of the habits that needed to be broken in order for me to be capable of accomplishing the goals that I set without relying on escapism.
Make a lot of sense. You had a final point?
Yeah. So the final point is, for this sequence is your mindset is everything, right? How you think creates how you feel. How you feel becomes an emotion. That emotion becomes a vibration. That vibration becomes a magnet that attracts things to you. I did everything. All of my healing came from affirmations. All of my healing came from constantly being in the mirror, looking at myself and saying good things to myself, until those good things that I said to myself made me feel good about myself.
How would you react if you suddenly discovered that everything you know might just be a result of your brain trying to protect you from a truth that you can't handle.
What do you mean?
Well, for example, uh, let's say let's say that you know that uh, let's say that you know that God exists. I'm gonna give you a big one. You know that God exists,
For sure.
and your brain tells you that God exists. But what if your brain was telling you that God exists to protect you from a truth that you can't handle? Maybe your brain tells you that God exists because God really don't exist. I'm just I'm not saying that
Well,
I don't
well,
think God exists,
well,
but I'm
well,
saying
well. When you
I'm just giving
dance,
you one of the big.
listen. When you dance with the devil long enough, you start to question, right? We
Hmm.
know you start to question, and I've had those questions, right? I've had those questions like, if does God exist? I've had those questions as a child, right? Because I went through extreme trauma, with my mother. My mother tried to also kill me. She tried to make me overdose on Coursera, right? And I remember coming home from school one time, and my mom was just like, "Yeah, you're sick. You're sick." She grabbed me. She grabbed me, put a her hand to my forehead like she was checking my temperature. She said, "You're sick. You're sick." Oh my God! I'm like, mommy, I'm not sick. No, no, you're sick. And she just started making me drink all this Pepto Bismol, cough serum, etc., right? Until eventually I had like 100 and something degree fever, and then she called my grandmother, and she was like, "You better get this boy. You better get this boy. You better get this boy." And my grandmother came over, and she seen me out of it, laying on my man. Oh man, oh man. Oh man, sorry. That just made me feel. Man, this was a very very painful experience for me, right? And my grandmother comes in. I'm in the living room, laying on my back. I'm throwing up. I'm hallucinating. I'm going through the works. And my grandmother, she grabs me, picks me up. She calls 911. 911 came and said if they would have been maybe 5 or 10 minutes later, I'll probably be dead, right? And you know, so I've went through so many things that made me question if God was real. But when God showed me that He was real, He didn't show me in some type of a church. He didn't show me in a masjid. He didn't show me in a book. He showed me internally. It's a thing that you can't explain. It's a thing that is just an instinctive thing that God tailors to you to know that I am real. And
Yeah,
and I've had
yeah.
that experience several occasions. So God has allowed me to see things that are unseen. God has sensitized me in a way to feel things that are not supposed to be felt. So when this has happened, you go, "Oh shit, this is whoa, okay, yeah, this is real. This is real." Like um, I did a, I did a, I did a podcast, right, with an army veteran, and he was talking about when people die. He's seen so many people die, right? And he was like, everybody that he saw die, they always seemed like they was looking past the person that they was in front of. Like they was seeing something that only death allowed you to see, right? And when he said that to me, I got the chills because I was just like, there were moments in my life that God let me see things that I knew were unseen. And then that was my personal confirmation because the things that he let me see were tailored, right? It was tailored to me, for me to see. And the feelings it made me feel, I said, "Oh yeah, so, yeah, you real, yeah, it's real." So, yeah, but that's I guess my response or outlook to what you were saying in terms of that question.
What type of effect did your relationship that you had with your mom have on you and other women?
Well, I mean, early on, what it did was early on, what it did was it made me constantly search for the love my mother never gave me from the women that I was dealing with.
Did you hold them to a much higher standard, like because your mom was so brutal to you? Did you hold them to such a high a standard that perhaps most people can't even hold up? You know.
Yeah, again, so that's what that is. Like what you're saying, that's what I'm saying. We're saying the same thing, right? I'm looking for the love that my mother never gave me. I'm looking for the love that my mother should have gave me from the women at that moment in my life that I was dealing with.
Did you ever get that love? Did you ever like get that love, but didn't realize it at the time?
Really, this is very important, especially for the people that's watching this. I don't want to move past this, right? Look, I was looking for the love that my mother never gave me, that she should have gave me from the women that I dealt with. Now, there's been documented stories of mothers knocking out grizzly bears to save their children. There's been documented stories of mothers lifting burning cars off of their children, ripping car doors off of cars, right? To get their baby to safety. If you deal with any animal, you know you're going to have hell to pay if you fuck with the mother's cubs, right? This type of love only your mother can give you. A woman cannot give you that love.
Right.
So your mother, she bears you. You come through her birth canal. You come through her portal. You're a part of her. She gives you life. She's willing to give her life for you. If you had to have a brain and heart transplant, your mother, and she should be the first donor. My son, take my brain, take my heart, take whatever. That's a mother's love. A woman can never give you a mother's love. A woman can give you a woman's love. Just as powerful, but it's different. And it has to be developed externally. The love a mother has for a child is developed internally because she holds you for 9 months. That love is being cultivated internally.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're born, she gave you life. She gave you breath. She's holding you. She's looking you in the eyes. That type of love a woman cannot give you because the conditions and circumstance that develops that type of love, you cannot go through. You're not going to give birth to me. But we give birth to our relationship. We give birth to the love that we give each other, right? So I'm the protector, I'm the provider, I'm the maintainer, I'm the sustainer, right? The woman, she gives wisdom, balance. She's the nurturer. She gives me unconditional love. She gives me empathy, patience, understanding, right? So that is the type of love that I had to find out that a woman could give me through extreme error, many, many trials, right? And that is how my mother's lack of love affected my relationships with women.
So, is it fair to say that you ran one or two women off, good women off, looking for that love from another woman, that motherly love from a woman?
Well, 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 this is I can look at it from both spectrums, right? I got two perspectives on this, right? Let me unpack this. And on one hand, for sure, because I've created a standard that
Can't be achieved.
right?
Yeah.
That's so okay. But then on the other standard, maybe the wisdom that that woman has can identify the trauma that I'm going through, and through her empathy, through her patience, through the application of her wisdom in certain conversations that we have, maybe she can shed light on some of these dark spots and help me with my level of understanding of the type of love and the reachable standard I should create for her to reach. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because I believe a woman should give love in 3 phases. The first phase of love should be informative love, because her role is wisdom and balance. So the first phase of love is it's informative. You're informing your man, you're informing your partner, right? And this is needed in our culture, because a lot of black men are not the heads of the household. So through her first phase of love, which is informative, she's telling the man, yo, baby, you don't gotta come to me. You go to God, and God gives you provision. And through the provision you get from God, you're able to be a protector, provider of this family. So she's informing. Her first phase of it's informative love. Then the second phase of love is unconditional love, because the woman should have empathy. The woman is a nurturer. And through her unconditional love, there's some healing that's going to be initiated in that phase. That is necessary, that sets the table for the last phase of love, which is tough love and accountability. Okay? So, I look at it from 2 perspectives, Mr. Willie. Yeah.
Yeah. What's a man to you?
Oh, man, a protector, a provider, maintainer, sustainer. Those things. Yeah.
Right. So what do you think about these guys who say that they're cool with going 50-50? Is that a viable thing, to you?
Remember the first phase of love that I said, right? The first phase of love is what? Informative. Because the brothers who... Yo, what you doing? Yo, the fuck is you... Yo, this ain't no Uber. The fuck is you doing? Yo, the fuck is you doing? You think this like an Uber to you? Go in your fucking van. The fuck is you doing? Bug the fuck out, man.
New York.
Yeah, you know this ain't no fucking Uber, bitch. You know this ain't no Uber. Like, is you fucking... Yo. Oh, man. So, yeah, so the brothers, remember, that second phase of love is informative, right? How does the man provide? The man provides because he gets provision from God, right? Through that provision that he gets from God, he's able to provide. So whatever his endeavor, his job, his idea, his business that he wants to start, provision covers all that. That's like a lifetime PPP loan out this motherfucker that you get from God, right? So the brothers who believe that it should be 50-50, they may not understand how to get their provision. So, and when you understand how to be in acquisition of provision from God, you won't need to go 50-50 with the woman. And then there's another perspective, which is the man, if he understands the provision or he's capable financially to go 100 to 0 instead of 50-50, 100 to 0, then maybe he doesn't want to feel like the woman is financially taking advantage of him. So he's using this thing 50-50 to not feel like the woman is getting over on him.
Yeah. Well, it's easy for a guy to believe that when you see a lot of these little clips that are out, a lot of these viral clips with these girls saying that a dude can't do anything for them but pay their bills. I saw one clip even today where some woman said she left her husband after he fell on hard times financially, and the interviewer was asking her, well, but what about sticking by him? What about, what about, taking care of your man or holding him down until you get back on his feet? She said, well, if he loved me, a real man wouldn't fall on hard times.
But she's right and wrong at the same. She's right and wrong at the same time.
Break it down.
She's right, because a real man has an indestructible relationship with God. And through that relationship with God, he will always be in possession of his provision. He will always have his provision, so he will always be able to provide for himself and his family. She's wrong for her inability to articulate this wisdom to her partner, and that lack of passing of the information contributed to him falling on hard times, because a woman is supposed to be a balance, right? So if he does not possess this information, which it sounded like he didn't, then it's her responsibility to remind him to improve his relationship with God. It's her responsibility to remind him to pray. It's her responsibility to remind him to ask God for provision. And then have empathy and be patient with him finding the words to say and the humility to go to God. And see, our separation has been incentivized by the government. So black women, when Section 8 came, and the government since the plantation have been incentivizing the destruction of black families and black relationships. So when Section 8 came around, you had to, if you wanted to get that check, you can't have a man in the household, right? But when the white farmer's wife needed subsidy from the government, they didn't require the white farmer husband to leave the farm. The white husband stayed in the house. They got the subsidy from the government, and they got back on their feet. The black man had to leave the home, and then that created a lot of broken homes. And then when you fast forward to today, a lot of black women don't realize that you cannot raise a child without the man in the home. You can just maintain a child. You can't. It's the difference between maintaining a child and raising a child. To raise a child, you need both masculine and feminine energies in the home. And I don't mean a woman acting like a man or a man acting like a woman. There's two dads in the home and two moms in the home. This mom-dad bullshit that they trying to brainwash our people to indulge in it. And unfortunately, it's sick, but we've been embracing it, right? So any woman that has real wisdom, she's going to use her wisdom to inform her partner that, hey, go to God, get your provision. You'll never be broke. And you won't even need to go 50-50. It'll be 100-0.
So are you saying that it's not possible for an LGBTQ couple to raise a child?
No, it's only possible for an LGBTQ couple to maintain a child.
Okay. Oh, break it down, man. Break it down.
You need both. You need both masculine. You need both. You need authentic masculine energy and authentic feminine energy working as a coalition under one roof to raise that child, to teach the values only a man can teach a child, to teach the values and empathy and principalities that only a woman can teach that child. And it has to come from a woman, and it has to come from a man. And the combination of both of those teachers and the household is how that child is raised up to be fully developed and in a position to reach their full potential. And when you have, for instance, when you have a lesbian couple in the home, and they're trying to maintain or inadequately raise a little black boy, well, the stud, she wishes she was born a man. She struggles with her sexuality in such a way that she is angry with God that she was born with a vagina instead of a penis. And she really has, and she hates men. She really hates men. And she envies men for being born with something that she wishes she was born with. And that type of a deeply rooted disdain for men and those self-esteem issues does not qualify her to deal with the confidence that needs to be developed in that little black boy. Only a man can do that.
Wouldn't her partner equally hate men because her partner chose another woman?
It's different because she's choosing a woman who looks like a man. So she's trying to so what she's doing is she's trying to have a cake and eat it too, because she wants to She wants the masculinity of a man, but she wants the femininity of a woman, right? She wants the emotions that you get from a woman, but the masculine energy you get from a man. So this is why she's dealing with a stud who is, you know, who's dressing like us, and you know, gotta, yeah, how you doing? My name is Tanya. Gotta, you know. So I think they have a disdain for men, but in different ways. But nonetheless, that disdain and those deeply rooted issues um, will indirectly affect how they parent the child or children that they have in the home, and those children are affected by that. Now, homosexuality is not in our nature. A little black boy and a little black girl, it's not in their nature to be homosexuals. You know how many homosexual couples force transgender dressing on the black boy in the home? You know how many homosexual couples embrace lesbianism in the home when it's not in that girl's nature as a girl to deal with a girl? But you're seeing this, you're indirectly programming this child. So I just think it's disgusting. And scripture says it's an abomination in the eyes of God. So no good is gonna come for it. But the reason why you see it so prevalent today is because homosexuality is weaponized to protect against white genetic annihilation. And we cannot build a nation for black people with homosexuals at the forefront, because we won't even live long enough to have a populated nation, because you have to have man and woman procreating, right? To populate the nation that we need to have. So, you know, and also you have to understand that the plantation went from physical to mental. So there's a mental plantation, and that mental plantation was an attempt to uh, injure us in such a way that vengeance would never be feared by the people who oppressed us. So if you look at the Willie Lynch letters, if you look at, you know, the strategies that slave masters applied to the subconscious mind of slaves over 400 years ago, they're still doing it now. And homosexuality has been weaponized and used to hinder us from getting the black family structure back to where it needs to be. And the only way to heal from these injuries, remembrance, is our rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is remembrance. We have to remember what happened to us, and we have to remember who we are. And when we start to remember who we are, then we start to remember that homosexuality is not in our culture. We start to remember that homosexuality is of the Greeks. Homosexuality is of the Romans. Homosexuality is of the Europeans. There's no gay hieroglyphics in any pharaoh's tomb, pyramid, or whatever. Okay. And when we start to remember who we are, now we can start to disassociate with who we are today and go back to who we used to be. And then now when we go back to who we used to be, we can take our proper place on this planet.
What do you say to people who say that, well, you know, we had black gay activists? You saying that there was no place for them? You saying that they didn't
You
make?
Can't have a black. You can't play. You can't.
You didn't. Hold on. Let me make my point first.
Okay. Okay.
They're going to say that these people were activists who made great strides within the black community and society at large. You got people like Bayard Rustin. You got Ernestine Eckstein. You got Barbara Jordan. You got James Baldwin. June Jordan. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Marsha P. Johnson. So, what do you say to those people?
You can't have a revolution with separatism. You can't have a revolution with a group that's divided internally. So, homosexuality, the only oppression that black homosexuals dealt with was prejudice. What we deal with as a nation is racism. So we cannot fight a war if we're internally separated. What you do in the bedroom is your business, but the skin you got on your back is our business. And that should be the only focus. It shouldn't be black gay rights or black gay activists. It should just be black activists. Stop letting us know what you do in the bedroom, homie. You like dick, that's your business. You want to be a carpet muncher, that's your business. When you step into this Klan meeting, you a nigga. So I don't want to hear black gay activists. I just want to hear black activists. What you do in the bedroom, I'm a straight man. I don't deal with men. But what I do in the bedroom with women has nothing to do with what we need to do as a collective, as a whole, as a people. And hold on, let me say this. And this is why white supremacist groups that have the most power on this planet, they weaponize homosexuality. Here's the proof. When the LGBTQ associated themselves with BLM, Black Lives Matter, when it came time to pass executive orders to cater to the rights of black people, only gay people had rights passed to protect them. We got no hate crime bills passed to protect black people. So this is the problem that I have with so-called black gay activists. Are you advocating for gay rights or are you advocating for black rights? Because if you're advocating for black rights, whether you're gay or straight don't matter.
All right.
And until and let me tell you something. And until we start holding these black gay activists accountable for that bullshit, we're going to be further removed from unifying. Our focus is racism, not prejudice. Homosexuals deal with prejudice. Our people, we deal with racism. And racism is one blanket issue.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that, bro, because my biggest problem with that community is, first and foremost, that they will fight tooth and nail for gay rights, but they sit back passively and they watch all of these atrocities happen to us. And even the black
but Willie, that's the point that I'm making, because it's weaponized. Think about it. What they're really fighting for is sexuality. What you're really fighting for. Now look, sexuality covers a lot. There's a lot of freaky people on the planet. Okay, a lot of freaky people. Right? So you're advocating for rights to protect your sexuality. And so you're only protecting your sexuality, but you're not protecting our people. So let's make it make sense. So you see the rainbow flag all over the motherfucker. You're trying to get us to forget what the fuck the concentration camp looks like and who's getting gassed the most in these goddamn chambers. This is why I don't support homosexuals. My primary lack of support for homosexuals is because God said it was an abomination in his eyes. And I'm a God-fearing man. My secondary, reason for lack of support of the LGBTQ community is that they never address our issues solely focused in terms of racism. They only deal with the prejudice. They don't focus on the race issues, the police brutality, the black murders, the lack of jobs, lack of how, like all these gentrification. Right. You're not marching. Wrap your fucking rainbow around that. Wrap your fucking rainbow around that.
Yeah, okay? That's my issue. That's my biggest issue. Yeah. And and then you got people that are quick to say, when black people don't support them and their cause, well, how can you be black and not support, with all the things that y'all do? How can you be black and not support? It's like,
listen, did the Klan did the Klan lynch a man for fucking a man, or did the Klan lynch a man for the way that man looked? See, right. Did the Klan sell this woman because she liked women? No, because you was black. And these are the issues. When the police pull you over and shoot the shit out you think you think that officer was saying, yo, hey buddy, wait, there he goes, he's a homosexual right there. So I'm telling you, he's a homosexual. When that lady Sonia Maya got shot in the face and the police officer said, I'll shoot you in your fucking face right now, do you think he was thinking, oh yeah, she's a lesbian for sure, let me kill her? When when those slave owners were cutting black men penises off, setting them on fire, and hanging them from trees, you think they were saying, yeah, we killed another. Good job, buddy. Good job, guys. No, they were saying we killed another nigga. When Emmett Till got beat and mangled, you think he got beat and mangled because he was a homosexual? Let's make this shit make sense. Let's focus on what we need as a people and as a nation.
What do we need?
Oh, I mean, are we talking about what are we talking about? Are you talking about our people, or are we talking about the overall collective?
Let's start with our people.
Well, first with our people is we need to understand that, you know, we need to have our own institutions, banks, hospitals. We need to have our own police department. We need to have our own government agencies that can mirror the FBI, the CIA, ATF, right? We need complete independence. We need our own government. Then we need a connection to Africa, because we're the only group of people living in the land of our Holocaust, waiting for the people who put us in the Holocaust to emancipate us when the so-called Jews had to leave Germany. America, to a certain extent, is our Germany. So if we don't start to have dual citizenship and have a real connection to Africa and a real vested interest in Africa, it's going to be harder for us to get respect and power here in America, because we don't have our own independent financial source.
So what you're saying is absolutely right. My issue that I take with that is Africa cannot protect us if something go down. And let me get into it a little deeper. So we know that America is full of haters. We know that every single time that we've pulled ourselves up by the bootstrap, even when we first was freed, Black folks went out there and kicked ass. We worked. We wasn't scared of no work. So we went out there and we worked and we built our homes up. We built our families up. We built our communities up. We built up towns, entire towns. We were self-sufficient, independent. We owned our own banks, our own hospitals, everything you was just talking about we needed. All of those pillars of communities that you need, all of those institutions that you need to run a successful community. We had all of those things. We had our own banks. We had our own hospitals. We had our own grocery stores. We had our own hotels. We had our own tailor shops. Everything that we needed, we had Black people providing it. And then them hate motherfuckers came in and ran interference, came in and torched everything, killed everybody, dropped bombs on some of our towns. And let's not forget, Tulsa, Oklahoma was not the only damn city that Black people was thriving in. It was cities, hundreds of cities all across the United States of America. Black folks was kicking ass. And they came in systematically, methodically, and destroyed every single one of those towns.
So now, when we take this page from the Vietnam War, that is guerrilla warfare, okay? When we take the page from the Haitian Revolution, it was the voodoo that allowed the Haitians to slaughter the French. This is why Haiti to this day is still independent, Willie. Okay? The weapons of mass destruction that the white man uses does not supersede the voodoo, does not supersede the power of God given to us, does not supersede that, Willie. Them shits are drop. Listen, Willie, I need to get this out. When you watch the Matrix, right? At the end of the first Matrix, when the agents was shooting at Neo, and he looked at the bullets, and he held his hand up, and the bullets stopped in midair, and he looked, and the bullets dropped. That is the frequency that our brothers tapped into during the Haitian Revolution. This is documented shit. They were talking about seeing Haitians flying through the sky, shape-shifting, teleporting. This happened for real. I'm not talking some movie shit. I'm talking about this happened for real. So when we take a page from the Haitian Revolution, when we take a page from the war in Afghanistan, when we take a page from the Vietnam War, ain't no white man gonna beat no army following a general who reads from that book, Willie.
Hey, I saw you in a podcast. I saw you on a podcast where you said that people need to look in the mirror before looking out the window. Expound on that.
Right. So that goes back. Hold on, relationship for government. Yeah. So Willie, that goes back to what I said, right? Like, when we look in the mirror, looking in the mirror is looking in the self. And when you're looking in the self, you have to you start to study and learn and unpack like who you are, what powers you possess, and what have our ancestors created and contributed to the world by looking in the mirror. When you look out the window, you're looking outside yourself. Well, what do you see when you look outside yourself? You don't see yourself, and you don't see things that give you confidence to be yourself, right? You don't see things that you don't see any representation of or any point of reference that you're great or you're amazing. That's what happens when you look out the window. But when you look in the mirror, you see that you're a God. When you look in the mirror, you see that you're the father of civilization. When you look in the mirror, you see that you're the mother of civilization. When you look in the mirror, you see that you invented mathematics. You see past the lie that the Greeks are the fathers of philosophy. No. We taught the Greeks everything that they know. They're the fathers of nothing. They're the sons of philosophy. The Greeks are the sons of philosophy. We're the fathers of this shit, right? So now when you start looking in the mirror, you start to see who you are. And I don't need no weapon of mass destruction, because I can control the mind of the hand that's going to press the button to deploy the weapon of mass destruction. I'm a God. So that's why it's imperative. It is pertinent. It is important for us to know who we are, and to develop the things that make us who we are, and then apply those things to our existence, and apply those things when we're building the institutions that are going to be that are going to comprise our nation, and the protection, right, in building these institutions and building these groups that are going to protect our nation. But it has to be us protecting us, not us using the weapons of our enemies, because the weapons of our enemies will not protect us in this war, because it's a spiritual war. But yeah, what do you get?
How long the spiritual war gonna take before we start winning?
3 minutes, because it takes the body 3 minutes or more to produce chemicals associated with the thoughts that you think. How you think creates how you feel. How you feel becomes an emotion. That emotion becomes a vibration. That vibration becomes a magnet that attracts things to you. So now when we start thinking the thoughts of freedom, when we start thinking the thoughts of nation building, when we start visualizing the institutions that we're going to build and being in these institutions, and when we start to visualize the power that we have to protect our nation, then that's when it happens. Yeah. Right? But we're gonna need a part 2 for that. But I want to talk. You was going into Kamala and shit like that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Kamala? Kamala. I'm saying Kamala. I'm saying Kamala. Kamala. What are your thoughts on Kamala Harris?
Okay. The first issue I have is, well, we kind of have a peek into what her presidency looks like, because she's currently in office as an acting vice president. So the Biden presidency has been a joke. Once again, nothing happens. So that's just my take. I'm gonna base the expectations I have for her presidency based upon her vice presidency. And as a vice president, she has been non-existent.
Well, if you look at history, vice presidents are historically non-existent. I mean, they're there to bounce ideas off of, for the president. They really are subordinates. They really don't do a lot. Uh, a lot of times when you bring a vice president on board, you bring that vice president on board to help you win the White House more. So this is why they will strategically go out and find certain people who are not necessarily like them, but share a lot of commonalities, because that person can bring a different perspective or a different audience, to their platform and to their campaign, and ultimately help them and bring those people to the polls, and ultimately help them get into office.
Well,
I mean,
yeah. Well, let me just say this, right?
All
that's good. All that's good.
Yeah.
However, our people don't have any type of an understanding of political science. So the perception of Kamala Harris being a vice president adds a power position in the minds of Black people, especially Black women. So the power that Kamala has as a vice president is not in the power of the vice presidency, but in the perception that she has held in the eyes of Black women here in America. And that perception can be leveraged to build things and institutions that can benefit us as a people here in America. So she can leverage her perception that she has as a vice president in the eyes of Black women and start to build institutions, companies, and et cetera, et cetera. Those things were not built. So I don't think that she even leveraged her vice presidency how it should have been leveraged, how it could have been leveraged to impact change in our community. Now, what the issue I have is, this is what lets me know a good president is not a Republican or a Democrat. A good president is an American. And what we have not seen in a long time is an American president. We've seen a Republican president. We've seen a Democrat president. We don't need a Republican president. We don't need a Democrat president. America does not need a party president. America needs an American president, right? And that leader is for the people and not for the party. And the problem is, when you have a Democratic president or Republican president, their policies, their executive orders are tailored to the interests of the party and not the people. And what I had hoped to hear from Kamala and what I had hoped to hear from Donald Trump is an advocacy for an American president, not a Republican president, not a Democratic president. It shouldn't have been red or blue. It should have been red, white, and blue.
Yeah, well said. I think that we've gone we so far gone, man, with this identity politics thing, that it ain't gonna turn anytime soon, because both sides are scared to actually be really diplomatic. And
no, they're not scared. They're not scared.
Like they're going to lose something.
They're not scared. You got to think they're going to appeal to the interests of the party. So,
and why are they doing that?
Because they're part of that party.
But
and
why?
There's no and there's no accountability, because the people's understanding of political science is so low that they can't hold these candidates accountable in a way that forces them to focus on the interests of the people and not just the party, right? So in order to fend against corruption, we need transparency. But transparency can only come when the people know what they're looking at. So if I don't know what I'm looking at, transparency is not relevant, because I don't know that I shouldn't be voting for a Democrat. I shouldn't be voting for a Republican. I should be voting for the people, right? And I should be voting as a person. I should be voting as an American, not a Democrat. I should be
Yeah.
voting as an American, not a Republican. And I need a leader who's gonna cater to my needs as an American, and not a participant in a particular party, right? Now, when we have an American president, they're gonna see that energy is an issue. Well, I think one of the things we should focus on is hydroelectric power. And that is when water flows through turbines and it generates electricity. This will help with the gas issues, right? Also, biofuels, algae and ocean plants converting into fuel. Now, an American president is going to start to see the opportunities in these areas but however, it's a conflict of interest because the party's budget is going to be dug into if these areas start to be focused on. Now, we also have to focus on government spending needs to change. We need to abolish interest rates and we need to increase taxes for the rich. Okay? Hard thing to do when you're advocating for the interests of the party. When you're advocating for the interests of the people, then this type of rhetoric makes sense, right? Abolishing interest rates and increasing taxes for the rich. We also need micro import export companies, and we have to invest in the growing African population and establish a power base here for them so we can extract goods from Africa, then use e-commerce to supply the demand created by these groups around the world. And we need 100 African Amazons here in America. Okay. And then, again, an American president understands this. This is what will benefit America. This won't benefit the parties, but this will benefit America. Next thing is we need to have trade schools introduced to elementary schools. Okay. Again, if we have a Democrat president, this is not going to happen. If we have a Republican president, this is not going to happen. If we have an American president, this will happen. And this is what America needs. Now, we talk about housing. Housing is an issue. I recommend we have 142 warehouse living centers. If you look at warehouses is the best thing for micro living. Now, 142 warehouse living centers, 7,000 tenants per warehouse, 32 apartments. If you look at storage, right? Think of like storage, a large storing space. A large storing space is 3 times the size of a jail cell. And we have people that spend their lives in prison and they're just fine, Willie. I want to call it warehouse living centers, the WLC, right? And we have 142 warehouse living centers, 7,000 tenants per warehouse, 3,200 apartments, with expense of 32. It costs 3,200 to renovate each apartment. That's a total of 1 million tenants per warehouse community. And the total community would be 142 warehouses. That's 1.4 billion for all that. So we can house 1 million people for 1.4 billion. And I think that should be the focus, or that should be the inspiration for the focus in terms of addressing the housing problem we have here in America. Also, in terms of healthcare, we need to have holistic health centers, and the holistic health business needs to replace the current pharmaceutical business that's been poisoning and putting toxic products on the medicine cabinets of America since the fucking existence of America. And then we need to regulate the same way that we have the marijuana business being regulated. The holistic health centers can be regulated, and now we can also create a new industry. And through the regulation, the government will be able to get their cut and control it. Because I know the pharmaceutical business, the pharmaceutical companies might not want to relinquish their stronghold they've had in this market. So we just need to shift. We need to shift the business. And if don't want to relinquish their power, or they need to change how they're producing their products in a more of a holistic way. But yeah.
Well, the money is in the medicine, so how are they gonna? How realistic do you think that is? That the pharmaceutical companies and
because
even the
because
government, even the government is going to allow something like that to happen.
because you, if you allow the consumer to live longer, right? The money for the pharmaceutical business is in the medicine, but the money in the holistic health business is in the healing and the maintenance of the healing, right? Because you got to maintain it. In order to maintain it, you got to consume the products. You got to consume these natural herbs and stuff like that. Then there's huge profitability. It's more of an upside to have a consumer living longer, and there's no age limit. So now you can't give a baby aspirin, but you can give a baby carrots. So the product lines have a wider range of consumers because there's no age restrictions on holistic products versus the age restriction on pharmaceutical products. So I think that's a, oh my bad. I think sorry. I think that's a good argument to advocate or to present if that's an issue in terms of with the pharmaceutical business or the pharmaceutical companies.
What's your thoughts on police and black folks?
Well, I mean, there's a lot there, right? Because it's not police brutality; it's actual political brutality. And I think the police academy needs a facelift. You know, you know, and I don't think police officers should be allowed to use live rounds. I think we should. I think rubber bullets do the job. Rubber bullets have proven to be as effective as bullets in these life or death situations. And when we see the when we look at the numbers in terms of cops being killed by firearms, I don't think this any. I think it's damn near non-existent, right? So I think there should be um, an advancement in non-lethal weapons. I feel like the non-lethal weapons should be a lot more stronger, and then those should be the firearms should be should be replaced, and it needs to be stricter guidelines on the usage of discharging the firearm. Because if you're saying this is a threat, well, a knife to a rubber bullet, I mean, it has to be like it has to be more laws and like it should be discharge laws, right? And it should be certain scenarios where you can, regardless of what happened, it should be clear laws passed to where this scenario, you can only discharge your firearm in these scenarios. And if you're not in these scenarios, there should be penalties. There should be minimum sentencing laws. I think that there should be strict laws passed to where you can only discharge the firearm if you're in these scenarios, and it should be strict. There should be minimum sentencing for discharging your firearm outside of the scenario that you're allowed to discharge your firearm in. Now, if a cop knew he would be facing 20 years if he shot a man at a traffic stop, there'd be less people getting shot.
Mm-hmm.
And if police officers actually policed in the communities that they lived in, that would limit the police brutality, because you're not so quick to hit your neighbor in the head because your son goes to school with your neighbor's son. So if you didn't hit your neighbor, beat your neighbor to half to death, your son might be getting his ass kicked in school.
Mm-hmm.
It changes things when you police in the community that you live in, and it's ironic that majority of the police that police in the ghetto don't actually live in the ghetto, and the police that actually commit these crimes in these neighborhoods don't live in the neighborhoods that they're committing the crimes in.
I think police officers should get the death penalty, just like when people get the death penalty for killing a cop. Police officers should get the death penalty. The death penalty,
100%.
it should be on the table all the time.
And felons, and there should be a lift, right? It shouldn't be so hard to get a carrier's license in New York City. So these are some of the things that, some of the laws that the presidents should be passing.
Man, one thing that I know we're closing out, but one thing that I want to say, man, about you, bro, is that you're unapologetically authentic, and you speak your mind, and the fact that you rub people the wrong way, it underscores that you're telling the truth. And that's what makes most people uncomfortable when they hear you talk, because you're live and you're direct, and they ain't used to that. It's something about that manhood thing, man. They scared of it, that masculine thing. They scared of that masculinity, and they quick to call it toxic masculinity. Ain't no such thing as toxic masculinity.
Right, not.
I don't think you can ever have too much masculinity.
No.
But the thing is, man, is that I want to, you're a rising star in this space, right? And and this is just the podcast space, but man, you boxing, you rapping, shit. I heard you play chess. What is it that you don't do?
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. No support from my mother. Sometimes I wish I would have came from a different pussy. C-section. Even in birth, she didn't push me. Even in birth, she didn't. Every other week, you got a new man in the house. You got the nerve to point to him like he the man of the house. And they all want me to call him dad. They all want me to call him dad. I grew up confused. Got beats, I was black and blue. And you wonder why I'm in school acting a fool? Cutting class, picking fights, couldn't follow the rules. Free lunch won't cut it. I'm still hungry. I need food. Hooked up with Daryl. Selling weed now, mama. I'm making moves. Yeah, mama. I'm making moves. You put a pins warming out. Left me in the system. Plus, you ain't called back. They ain't love, what you call that? If you ain't want son, mama, shit. You should have left me in that ball sack. Two sides to the story. But I ain't having it. Too many demons inside I got to battle with. Fuck whoever trying to play devil's advocate. Y'all don't understand how real this is? I was just a kid, 5. Had to look my mama in the eye, half sleep, half high. And you wonder why I'm outside? Smoking weed, pistol in my pocket, throwing up gang signs. You a junkie, mama. How you gonna demand respect? I guess you beat me because I look like the man that left a spitting image of my daddy. Huh? That's why you slapped me? Can nothing please you? You ain't never happy. Straight A's on report cards getting ripped. Christmas, birthdays, I ain't get shit. Every man I see you with call you bitch. This is what I deal with. Yeah. This is what I deal with. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. It feels like God cursed me and my brothers, because all I do is suffer, and the pain came from my mother. Rose won't grow from this concrete. Roots getting pulled out, petals getting stepped on. You came home high, beat me half to death, said that I slept wrong. Bloody tampons, empty bottles of liquor, cracked valves on the same bed I slept on. How the fuck could I sleep wrong? You got me laying on a bed I could barely even sleep on. Bottles on the floor, roaches on the wall. I'm looking at the sky like God, I deserve more, but God gave me this talent. All I wanted was love. My father wanted to fuck. My mother thought it was love, but I'm a king, not a nigga. Please, Lord, make them miss me when the trigger squeeze. Focus on becoming what I gotta be. Born drunk, biblical cord filled with Hennessy, dope in my mama vein. Pass to the first seed. Lord, am I worthy? If so, then please tell me why my mama trying to curse me. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Yeah, Willie, I got a little rap to me.
Yeah, that's heavy, bro. That's heavy, man. That's heavy and heartfelt, man. Is your mom still alive?
Shit, man. I don't even know, Willie. Keep it a bean.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, damn, man. You know what though, bro? Do you don't have kids, do you?
No, 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 no.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want kids?
But I have like 12 babies, Willie.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I'm gonna have a big family when it's all said and done.
right. I think you're gonna get there, man. I think you get there. You one thing about it, you're gonna make a good dad, man. You're gonna make a superb husband. I think you're a good dude. So, I'm looking forward to watching your elevation, bro.
For sure, for sure. Thank
Yeah,
me. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure, man.
What's some of the things that you want the people to know about you and what you got coming up?
Um, well, I'm really okay. So I got the No Labels tour. The No Labels tour um is a thing where I'm doing for artists. I'm letting artists perform, and I'm critiquing their music and then giving them ideas and helping them create business plans for their music. Because a lot of artists don't know that music is not really a product. Music is more so the commercial for the products you sell or the services you provide, or the services you promote and the products you promote. So think McDonald's has music. I'm loving it. Ba 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 ba. But they have a product. What's their product? Burgers and fries. They provide a service. What's their service? Commercial real estate. McDonald's is the biggest realty company on the fucking planet, right? So now, once artists can understand that their music is the commercial for the products they sell, now they can actually create products that they sell to the people who listen to their music and then use their music as a way to make the products that they create cool to their fans, right? So I've created this thing called No Labels Tour, and I have the AMP program, which is the Amplify Artist program. Um, it's going to be Monday to Thursday, where I'm giving workshops on how to, monetize your content, how to develop your self-esteem, how to have critical thinking skills, how to have affirmations, how to maintain a positive way of thinking, right? And I have it like week by week. So I got the workshop. I got that workshop coming. Um, I mean, I got a lot. I mean, and one of the my number's 917-907-3687. If you want to holler, you know what I mean? Call me. My goal is to build and to build a nation for our people. So that's my focus. Um, I'm I'm I have a financial program coming. Uh, and my sole focus is creating generational wealth. So I believe generational wealth should be your living expenses times 4 times 12 times 100. Your living expenses times 4 times 12 times 100. So I got a tax attorney, I got an IPA, and I got an accountant. I got some, and they helped me develop a book called Reparations for Niggas. Um, and
Are you gonna title it that?
yeah. Because I believe it's. I know we not. I mean, yeah. I want to title it. I want to title it. I want to.
Take
It's
the
a
niggas out, man. Don't call it niggas, man. Don't call it.
okay. Okay.
Because it's bigger than that. You trying to because niggas ain't gonna read it. You know what I'm saying? It's the black people gonna read it. Niggas ain't gonna read it. You
But
know what I'm
that's the.
saying?
But that's the.
I
That's
know
the.
I know where you're going with it. I know, but I'm just saying, don't got it. You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
I got a lot of books I'm about to write, Willie. But that's one of the things that's one of the books I wanted to write because I read a book in prison that changed my life called From Niggas to Gods, and it's a whole reasoning for the book, right? Reparations for niggas, right? And the thing about it is there has to be revitalization. There has to be an approach. The goal is to go from niggas to gods. So this is so I'm speaking to niggas, and this conversation is gonna help you go from being a nigga to a god and actually creating generational wealth. So that's the whole concept. That's the whole concept.
Well, I could feel that piece. I could feel that more. I could feel that piece more.
Yeah. I definitely would have to explain the title, right, and why I'm choosing the title. And when I dropped the book, oh yeah, I got a book called Dollars Over Dopamine on the way, and I'm writing it now with Shabazz the OG. So me and Shabazz, the OG, we working on this book
Shout
called,
out to Spaz.
yeah, we working on dollars over dopamine. I'm really excited about that book. So my book series, the music, and hopefully by this time next year, God willing, I'll be a light heavyweight champion in the boxing, man. I'm like this generation's Muhammad Ali, man. Mixed with a little
What's your boxing record?
Oh, um, I took 4 fights. We got 4 fights in Mexico. I did 4 fights in Mexico. But I'm about to have my official pro debut. I have 4 fights in Mexico. I won all 4 fights. But I'm about to have my official pro debut here, in America, probably April next year.
So how you gonna be a lightweight champion? What you gonna fight once every 3 weeks or something?
Well, what you mean? I mean, the current light heavyweight champion right now, the current undisputed light heavyweight champion right now, I believe is like 20 or 21 to 0. That's Artur Beterbiev. He's and he became undisputed in less than 20 fights. So the good thing about that division is you don't have to have a lot of fights to qualify for a title. I'm predicting
fighting every 2 weeks though to get up there to 20 fights, and that's
yeah.
That's
all I would have to do to qualify for a belt is probably be 8-0 or 10-0 with 10 knockouts. That's it. And then when you combine my notoriety, my marketability, it won't be a hard sell for a promoter to promote me and get me a title shot. It's not a deep division. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not a deep division, but one thing about it is that, like, once you become a champion,
I'm retiring. That's it.
You return. No, you got to go on.
Nah, Willie, listen. I'm doing is I'm making sure that when I write my autobiography, that shit gonna be like this. You heard? So, like, I'm inspired by. So, like, from like I looked at Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And I read his story, right? I looked into his life story. I was like, damn, like, okay, he planned all this shit, right? To be, bodybuilder, action movie star, governor, you know what I'm saying? Fitness icon, guru, right? So I said to myself, what could be one of the greatest contributions that I contribute to black people? I would say for me to do this, right? Like, to be like, okay, he becomes a motivational speaker, takes over that, puts out an album, puts out like maybe 5 or 7 albums, do like go diamond, right? Like, have this crazy, amazing rap catalog, right? Then go into boxing, become the light heavyweight champion of the world. And I'm conscious. I'm talking that black power shit. I'm talking that real, and then I'm knocking jokers out, right? Like, and then, light heavyweight champion of the world, and then retire from boxing, get into powerlifting, get the world bench press record, and then after I take over the powerlifting world, go into action, because I want to be an action movie star, like a fucking Wesley Snipes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm 6'2", right? I'm tall, I'm athletic, I'm in crazy shape, right? So I can be like a Wesley Snipes. Like, a lot of people, they see me on the internet, they think I'm like 5'4". You know what I mean? I don't fucking know, right? And then when people see me in person, like, God damn, I thought you were short. No, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I have decent height. So I'm tall enough to be an action star. You know what I mean? So now I become like this action movie star, right? And then I do like maybe 10 action movies, critically acclaimed, of course. And then I go from acting, being this huge action superstar, to book writer. Now we start dropping all these books. And then once I drop the books become the foundation for my curriculum. Now I open up a school. Now I'm a professor. I spent like 10 years as a professor teaching and multiplying this mindset, right? And then I go into Africa. Then I get into politics. And I become the president of some country in Africa. And I live to be over 120 years old. And yeah, yeah, Willie.
Hey, say man, hey, if you can believe it, you can achieve it.
Willie, that's what's gonna happen, Willie.
Yeah,
You gonna
yeah.
let motherfuckers smart. They gonna be playing back this interview, Willie, like, yo, look, he said all that shit. Yeah, motherfuckers.
Hey, but you know you don't have to be 6'2" to be an action hero. Wesley Snipes is only 5'10". I mean 5'8".
Hey, Willie, I'm just saying, Willie, I'm just saying what it is, Willie. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not short like Jean-Claude Van Damme. You know what I'm saying?
right. Most of those guys are short anyway. But anyway, man, I really do appreciate you coming on Champ. We definitely gonna chop it up again, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm so glad, Willie. I'm so glad that you agreed to do this. Cause could you imagine if you would have been like, nah, it's only happened because of you, Willie, right? You know?
Well, it's happening. It's happening because of you two. It takes two to tango. You dig what I'm saying? And we did that. We put that work in, man. We cooked them tonight. You dig what I'm saying?
Man. Willie, I ain't gonna hold you, man. Yeah. Listen, when we have that face-to-face sit down.
Yeah. Absolutely. Say, hey, King, be careful out there.
No, I'm good, man. I'm be God out here, man. I'm be God out here. But I think, I think part 2, I probably want to, you make beats, man?
Nah.
I think part 2 or something like that. I want to make some content with you in Texas in the studio, man. I want to kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Because I know you've been around the Ghetto Boys. I did some research in between the breaks. I said, oh shit, Ghetto Boys ain't no motherfucking joke, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know that Tupac Scarface shit, the Jay-Z Scarface shit. You know what I mean? You know, all that comes from your lineage, man. So I definitely wouldn't mind getting some pointers in terms of creating the music. Well, I got you here.
We're gonna chop it up.
Before you go, what should consist of, like, you know, a legendary album now? Like what? And I'm gonna take some notes while you tell me this, right? So I'm gonna put together 12 songs. Give me what you feel is missing, and because I have the ability, Willie. If I would have been in your era, I'd have been one of them guys, man. I mean, so
look, the main thing. Look, without giving away the secret sauce. I mean, me like publicly, like I'm gonna talk to you directly, and I can talk to you directly. But as far as just over these ads, the main thing about the music is to just being authentic, whatever that is to you, whatever that authenticity is. Be that, and because it's easier to be you than to try to be somebody else.
Right.
And with the information that you have, all you need is dope beats and dope hooks, and it's a wrap. Once you get a dope beat and a dope hook, all you got to do is make sure you don't mess the song up. If you got skills, all you got to do is make sure you don't mess it up, and you got skills. So I'm pretty confident that you won't mess it up. So you straight, you'll be good.
Oh, thank you, man.
Appreciate it, man. We'll talk further than that. We'll talk more. Yeah, I got you. I got a few secrets. I got a couple of tricks under my sleeve. You know what I'm saying?
I know you do. Yeah. I know that's right.
All right, King. In a minute.
All right. Peace.
No more talk.